You're at the bottom right now. I know that feeling. It's cold, dark, and suffocating. You're staring at the walls of your own despair, wondering if there's any way out. You might think the world has thrown you into the fire to burn you down, but I'm here to tell you something it didn't. It threw you into the fire to forge you into something stronger, something unstoppable. But that transformation, that's on you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's handing you a lifeline. And you know what? That's the best thing about hitting rock bottom. It's a clean slate. It's the ultimate proving ground. When you're down there, everything screams at you to quit. Your mind will whisper that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not capable enough. That voice, it's a liar. It's your old self clinging to its comfort zone, terrified of what you could become if you pushed past the pain. But listen to me, you don't silence that voice by reasoning with it. You silence it by action. You silence it by embracing the grind. You silence it by doing what others refuse to do. The warrior mindset isn't something you're born with, it's something you earn. And you earn it in the trenches where nobody's watching, where the pain feels unbearable, and where quitting seems like the easiest option. That's where you dig deep, deeper than you thought possible, and you find the version of yourself who refuses to stay down. You find the fighter, the relentless beast inside you that doesn't care about the odds, the pain, or the judgment of others. You get up not because it's easy, not because it's fair, but because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the person you're destined to become. You want to climb out of the pit, then you stop making excuses. Life doesn't care about your excuses, and neither should you. You don't have time to sit around feeling sorry for yourself. You've got work to do. You've got to grind like your life depends on it, because it does. Every day, every choice, every moment is a battle. But the enemy isn't out there. The enemy is the version of you that's too afraid to take the next step. The enemy is the voice in your head telling you to settle, to give up, to stay comfortable. Destroy that voice, replace it with a roar. And don't just climb out of that hole, obliterate it. Leave no doubt that you were there and you conquered it. Let your scars be the proof of your resilience. Let your story be the fuel for someone else who's stuck in their own pit, wondering if it's possible to rise. When you get up and keep moving, you're not just changing your life, you're showing the world what's possible when you refuse to quit. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You're at rock bottom, but rock bottom is where warriors are made. Take that first step. It doesn't matter how small it is, as long as it's forward. Then take another and another. And when your legs shake and your mind screams to stop, you keep moving. Because one day you'll look back and the pit that once felt like the end of the world will be nothing more than a memory. And you'll be standing on top of the mountain, battle-tested, unbreakable, and unstoppable. Stay hard, stay relentless, and never, ever back down. When you find yourself at your lowest, it can feel like the end. The walls are closing in, and every step feels heavier than the last. But what if I told you this moment isn't your destruction? What if it's your creation? The fire you're in right now isn't meant to burn you to ashes. It's meant to burn away everything holding you back. It's here to strip you down to your core, to expose the raw, unrefined version of yourself that's ready to be reshaped. This is where you begin. This is where the excuses, the fears, and the doubts get melted down. It's not pretty and it's not easy, but that's the point. Strength isn't built in comfort. It's forged in the moments when you feel like you've got nothing left. It's in the pain, the struggle, and the fight. This is your proving ground. The world doesn't owe you anything, and it's not going to wait for you to get it together. But that's your advantage. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Rock bottom is the ultimate starting point because it strips away the distractions. You see the truth for what it is. No more pretending, no more hiding. You've got nowhere to go but up, and that's the most powerful place to be. When you embrace the fire, when you stop running from the discomfort, you start to realize it's shaping you into something you never thought you could be. It's giving you strength you didn't know you had. And when you rise, you don't just climb out, you erupt out of that pit with the force of someone who's been tested, someone who survived the unthinkable. You become unshakable, unbreakable. This isn't the end of your story, it's the moment you redefine it. The fire isn't your enemy, it's your transformation. No one is coming. That's the truth most people don't want to hear, but it's the truth you need to accept. No one is going to knock on your door with the answers. No one is going to pull you out of the pit and hand you the life you dream of. You can sit there waiting, hoping, praying for someone to come along and fix it all, but they won't. And honestly, that's the best gift life can give you. When you realize no one is coming to save you, you take the power back. You stop being the victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your future. It's not easy, but it's liberating. Because if no one is coming, then everything you need to climb out of that hole is already within you. You stop waiting for permission, validation, or a miracle, and you start creating your own way out. This isn't about being self-sufficient to the point of isolation. It's about understanding that the only person responsible for your life is you. The world doesn't owe you anything, and the sooner you let go of that entitlement, the sooner you realize how capable you are. You don't need a savior, you need grit. You need persistence. You need to look in the mirror and say, it's on me. Every step you take from here, every ounce of effort you pour in, is a declaration that you refuse to let circumstances dictate your story. You're not waiting for someone else to define your worth. You're not waiting for an easier path. You're carving your own trail through the chaos. That's where true freedom lies. When you take responsibility for your life, you take control. You become unstoppable because you realize there's no one to blame, no one to lean on, and no one holding you back but yourself. And when you step into that truth, you become the kind of person who doesn't just survive rock bottom, you conquer it. You rise not because someone lifted you up, but because you lifted yourself. That voice in your head, the one that tells you to quit, to stop trying, to just accept that you're not enough, is your greatest enemy. It's persistent, isn't it? It doesn't scream, it whispers. It slips in during moments of doubt, during the hardest parts of the grind, when the path forward feels impossible. And it's convincing. It knows your fears. It knows your fears. It knows your insecurities. It feeds on them. But here's the secret. You don't silence that voice by arguing with it. You don't drown it out by wishing it away. You silence it with action. Every time you step forward, despite that voice, you weaken it. Every time you choose to act instead of giving in, you reclaim a piece of your power. This isn't about feeling ready or motivated. It's not about waiting until the fear or doubt disappears. It's about moving forward anyway, one step at a time, even when everything inside you is screaming to stop. Action is louder than any excuse. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to happen. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that the voice in your head isn't in control. You are. And with every step, every rep, every decision to push on, you're not just making progress, you're building a foundation of resilience. The more you act, the quieter that voice becomes. It starts to lose its grip. Because deep down, that voice isn't the real you. It's fear. It's self-doubt. It's the remnants of an old version of yourself that can't handle the heat of the fire you're walking through. But the real you, the warrior in you, that part gets stronger with every action you take. Action doesn't just silence doubt, it rewires your mind. It transforms how you see yourself. You go from someone who listens to the lies of doubt to someone who proves them wrong over and over again. And once you've proven them wrong enough times, something incredible happens. That voice of doubt stops being your enemy. It becomes your fuel. You start to crave the moments when it tells you you can't, because you know you're about to show it in the world that you can. You don't win this battle in your mind. You win it in the actions you take, the moments you choose to fight back, when quitting feels like the easiest option. Every action is a statement: I am stronger than my doubt. I am more powerful than my fear, and I will not stop. The grind isn't glamorous. It's not the highlight reel you see on social media with perfect lighting and triumphant music. The grind is raw. It's ugly. It's those early mornings when the alarm feels like a slap to the face. It's the late nights when exhaustion clings to you like a second skin. It's the relentless, repetitive work that nobody else sees, the moments when progress feels invisible, and the only reward is knowing you didn't quit. But that's where greatness is born. In the grind, you find the parts of yourself that can endure. You find the parts that are willing to push through discomfort, pain, and frustration, not for immediate results, but because you refuse to accept anything less than your best. It's not about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. The grind demands discipline, the kind that doesn't ask how you feel about it. It just shows up day after day, no matter what. The grind strips away illusions. It doesn't care about your excuses, your fears, or your doubts. It meets you with cold, unflinching honesty. Are you willing to do the work? Not just once, not just when it's easy, but every single day? Because that's what it takes. The grind is a test, and it's not there to defeat you. It's there to shape you, to harden your resolve, and to build a foundation so strong that nothing can shake it. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the struggle, in the moments when your body screams to stop, when your mind begs for relief, and you dig deep anyway. Every drop of sweat, every ounce of effort is a deposit in the bank of your future self. And one day you'll look back at all those grinding days and realize they weren't just stepping stones, they were the entire path to everything you've achieved. But you can't skip the grind. You can't fake it. You can't cheat it. It demands your full presence, your unwavering commitment, and your willingness to embrace discomfort as a necessary part of the process. The grind doesn't just build your body, your skills, or your career, it builds your character. It teaches you resilience, patience, and the ability to keep going when the world seems intent on stopping you. You don't have to love the grind. You just have to respect it. Because the grind is where you prove to yourself and to the world that you're willing to earn every inch of progress. And when the results finally come, they're not just a reward. They're a testament to the fire you walked through and the relentless force you've become. Excuses are seductive. They're easy to grab onto, comforting even because they give you an out. They whisper that it's okay to stop, to settle, to stay where you are. I don't have enough time, I'm too tired. I'm not good enough sound familiar? Excuses are the chains that keep you locked in place. And if you let them, they'll rob you of your potential. But here's the hard truth, excuses don't care about your goals. They don't care about your dreams. They're lies you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of growth. Every time you make an excuse, you're giving up a piece of your power. You're letting circumstances dictate your life instead of taking control. Excuses don't solve problems, they create them. They don't move you forward, they keep you stuck. And the worst part? Excuses are contagious. The more you let them into your life, the more they multiply until you're drowning in a sea of reasons why you can't, instead of focusing on all the reasons why you must. But here's the thing, you have a choice. Every excuse you make is an opportunity to decide who you want to be. Do you want to be the person who's held back by fear, doubt, and circumstance? Or do you want to be the person who pushes past all of that, who looks at every obstacle as a chance to prove their strength? Destroying excuses starts with owning them. Call them out for what they are, self-imposed barriers. Stop blaming your situation, your past, or other people. Take full responsibility for where you are and where you want to go. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's your greatest weapon. Because once you own your choices, you realize you have the power to change them. It's not about ignoring the challenges in your life. It's about refusing to let those challenges define you. It's about saying, yes, this is hard. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, I'm scared. But I'm doing it anyway. That's the mindset that shatters excuses. That's the mindset that turns every I can into watch me. And the moment you stop making excuses, something incredible happens. You start to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. You start to realize that the power to change your life has always been in your hands. Excuses lose their grip and you become unstoppable. So the next time an excuse tries to creep in, shut it down, replace it with action, no matter how small. Because every step you take toward your goals is a step away from the chains of excuses. And when you look back, you won't see a trail of reasons why you couldn't. You'll see the undeniable proof of why you did. The enemy isn't out there. It's not the challenges you face, the people who doubt you, or the circumstances stacked against you. The enemy lives within you. It's the part of you that hesitates, that questions your ability, that chooses comfort over growth. It's the voice that tells you to stay in bed, to skip the workout, to avoid the hard conversations, to settle for less than you're capable of? This enemy knows you better than anyone else. It knows your fears, your insecurities, and your weaknesses, and it uses them against you every chance it gets. It's the whisper in your ear saying, you're not good enough. It's the fleeting thought that says, what's the point? It's the part of you that clings to safety because safety feels easier than risking failure. But here's the truth: that enemy is not invincible. It's not some insurmountable force. It's a creation of your mind, and that means you have the power to defeat it, but you won't do it by ignoring it. You won't win by pretending it's not there. The battle begins when you face it head on. To overcome this inner enemy, you have to recognize it for what it is: fear disguised as logic, self-doubt masked as reason. It's the version of yourself that's too afraid to step into the unknown, but fear only has power if you let it. Every time you push past your fears, every time you take action despite the doubts, you weaken that enemy. The real fight is in your choices. It's in those small daily moments when you decide whether to listen to the voice telling you to quit or the one urging you to push forward. It's not about being fearless, it's about acting in spite of fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important. When you start seeing the enemy within for what it is, you realize that it's not there to stop you, it's there to test you. It's there to see how badly you want it. It's there to separate the people who talk about their goals from the ones who actually achieve them. The battle against the inner enemy is a lifelong fight. But every time you win, you grow stronger. Every time you take a step forward, despite the resistance, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And with every victory, the enemy's voice gets quieter, its grip weaker. You won't always win. Some days the enemy will get the better of you, but that's okay. The key is to get back up, to fight again, to refuse to let one loss define you. Because the only way the inner enemy truly wins is if you stop trying. You are your own greatest adversary, but you are also your own greatest ally. The choice is yours. Will you let the enemy inside keep you small, or will you rise up and become the warrior you were meant to be? Progress doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand that you have all the answers or that you always know the next step. What it does require is relentless, consistent action. It's about showing up every single day, no matter how you feel, no matter how hard it gets, and taking that next step forward, even when it's small, even when it feels insignificant, even when it feels like it's not enough, it matters. You don't have to run a marathon in a day, conquer a mountain in an hour, or transform your life overnight. Big goals are intimidating, and they can paralyze you if you focus on the enormity of the journey ahead. But here's the truth: the journey doesn't happen all at once. It happens step by step, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every small action you take builds momentum. It's not about leaping from where you are to where you want to be. It's about bridging the gap one decision at a time. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's drinking water instead of soda. Maybe it's showing up at the gym when you don't feel like it, even if all you can do is a single push-up. Those actions may feel tiny in the moment, but over time, they compound into something extraordinary. The beauty of taking action is that it breaks the cycle of overthinking. When you're stuck in your head, paralyzed by fear or doubt, action is the antidote. It shifts your focus from what might go wrong to what you can do right now. It's not about being fearless or completely confident. It's about moving forward despite the fear, despite the uncertainty. Every step forward is a victory. It's a declaration that you refuse to stay where you are, that you're willing to fight for something better. And those small wins, they add up. Each one builds your confidence, your resilience, your belief in your ability to handle whatever comes next. You start to realize that progress isn't about massive leaps. It's about relentless forward motion. Even when you stumble, even when you fall, the key is to get back up and keep moving. Progress isn't linear. There will be setbacks, moments when it feels like you're moving backward. But as long as you keep taking steps, you're still in the fight. And the longer you stay in the fight, the stronger you become. Action isn't just about achieving a goal. It's about transforming who you are. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for perfect conditions, who doesn't let fear dictate their choices, who refuses to quit. That's where true progress lies. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for everything to feel just right. Start now. Take the next step, no matter how small, no matter how uncertain. Because every step you take, every moment of effort you give, is moving you closer to the person you're destined to become. Progress isn't about speed, it's about persistence. Keep moving. Your scars tell a story. They're not marks of failure or weakness, they're proof of your resilience. Every scar, whether physical, emotional, or mental, is evidence that you faced battles others might not even understand and survived. They're reminders that you've endured pain, overcome challenges, and refused to give up, even when life pushed you to your limits. The world might try to convince you that scars are something to hide, to be ashamed of, but hiding them only diminishes the strength they represent. Those scars are part of your journey. They're not signs of defeat, they're badges of honor. They show that you've been through the fire and come out the other side stronger. You see, life isn't about avoiding pain or escaping struggle. It's about what you do when the storm hits. It's about how you rise after being knocked down, how you adapt and grow even when it feels like the odds are against you. Scars are the map of that growth. They're the lines etched into your soul that tell the world, I'm still here. I didn't just survive, I thrived. Turning scars into strength starts with acceptance. Stop running from your pain. Stop pretending it didn't happen. Look at it for what it is, a part of your story, not the whole story. When you embrace your scars, you stop letting them define you in a negative way. Instead, you take control of the narrative. You choose what those scars represent: endurance, transformation, victory. Every scar you carry is a lesson. It taught you something about yourself, about your limits, your capabilities, and your unbreakable spirit. They're reminders of the times you were tested and found a way to keep going. They're proof that even in your darkest moments, you had the strength to push forward. And here's the thing, your scars don't just inspire you, they inspire others. When people see someone who has overcome the kind of challenges that leave scars, they see what's possible for themselves. Your story, your resilience can be the light that helps someone else find their way through the darkness. Wear your scars proudly. They're not blemishes, they're part of the masterpiece you're creating. They're proof that you've lived, that you've fought, that you've faced the worst and refused to let it break you. Failure isn't the end. It's not the sign you should stop or proof that you're not cut out for the journey. Failure is part of the process. It's the teacher that no one wants but everyone needs. It's the fire that burns away your weaknesses and shows you what you're really made of. Most people fear failure because they think it defines them. But failure doesn't define you, your response to it does. When you fail, you have two choices: let it crush you or let it shape you. The first path leads to regret and stagnation. The second leads to growth and strength. The choice is always yours. Failure isn't a dead end, it's a detour. It's the universe's way of testing how much you really want it, how willing you are to adapt, learn, and push through adversity. Every failure holds a lesson, but you have to be willing to look for it. What went wrong? What can you do differently next time? Failure is never wasted if you walk away from it wiser and more determined. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who avoided failure, they're the ones who embraced it. They failed, learned, adjusted, and tried again, over and over until they got it right. Failure is the gateway to mastery because it forces you to confront your limitations and figure out how to overcome them. It's a refining process, turning you into someone who doesn't just succeed occasionally, but knows how to succeed repeatedly. The truth is, the fear of failure is often worse than failure itself. Once you face it, you realize it's not as devastating as you imagined. Sure, it stings, it's uncomfortable, but it's also temporary. And on the other side of that discomfort is the growth you've been searching for. Don't avoid failure, seek it out. If you're not failing, you're not pushing hard enough. You're staying in your comfort zone, playing it safe, and missing out on the opportunities that come with taking risks. Failure is a sign that you're trying, that you're daring to do something beyond your current abilities. But don't just fail forward. Let every setback propel you closer to your goal. Use each mistake as a stepping stone, each disappointment as fuel. When you fail forward, you turn every obstacle into an opportunity, every loss into a lesson. And remember, failure doesn't make you a failure. Giving up does. As long as you're willing to get back up and keep going, you're still in the game, you're still fighting. And that's what separates those who see from those who don't. The refusal to let failure have the final word. So fail boldly, fail often, fail forward, because every failure is a step closer to the breakthrough you've been working for. And when you finally succeed, you'll realize that failure wasn't your enemy, it was your greatest ally. The warrior mindset isn't something you're born with, it's something you build piece by piece through discipline, struggle, and relentless focus. It's not a gift, it's a choice. And that choice begins with the decision to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your destiny. You see, most people let life happen to them. They react instead of acting. They let circumstances dictate their decisions, their mindset, and their future. But the warrior mindset flips the script. It's about taking control, owning your life, and refusing to be defined by anything other than your own determination and effort. A warrior doesn't just set goals, they commit to them with unshakable focus. They don't rely on motivation because they know it's fleeting. Instead, they build habits and discipline that carry them through, even when motivation fades. A warrior wakes up every day with a purpose, no matter how they feel, no matter what obstacles stand in their way. The warrior mindset is forged in adversity. It's not about avoiding pain or difficulty, it's about embracing it. Pain becomes a teacher. Challenges become opportunities to grow stronger. A warrior doesn't back down from the hard stuff, they seek it out because they know that's where growth happens. They learn to find comfort in discomfort, to see struggle not as a threat but as a necessary part of the journey. A true warrior doesn't fear failure, they fear complacency. They know that every setback is a chance to learn, to adapt, and to come back stronger. They refuse to let fear control them because they understand that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to act in spite of it. Building a warrior mindset isn't about being perfect, it's about being relentless. It's about showing up every day no matter what and giving your all. It's about pushing through when others would quit, about staying focused when distractions are everywhere, and about staying true to your path even when it feels like the whole world is against you. The warrior mindset also requires clarity. You have to know what you're fighting for. What's your purpose? What's your why? When your vision is clear and your purpose is strong, nothing can shake you. You'll find the strength to keep going, even when it feels like you have nothing left. But here's the most important part: the warrior mindset isn't just about you. It's about how you show up for others. A warrior lifts others up, leads by example, and inspires those around them to rise to their own potential. It's not about being the strongest or the toughest, it's about being the kind of person who refuses to quit and encourages others to do the same. Becoming a warrior isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's a way of life. It's a daily commitment to push your limits, to grow stronger, and to never settle for anything less than your best. And when you live with that mindset, you don't just change your life, you change the world around you. Because a true warrior's strength doesn't come from what they can take, it comes from what they can give. The journey from rock bottom to a warrior mindset isn't easy, but that's what makes it so powerful. It's a transformation that demands everything you've got and then some. It's about staring your fears, failures, and doubts in the face and refusing to back down. It's about taking control of your life, owning your scars, and turning every setback into a stepping stone toward greatness. A warrior isn't someone who has never fallen, it's someone who keeps rising no matter how many times life knocks them down. It's someone who sees challenges not as roadblocks but as opportunities to grow stronger. It's someone who chooses discipline over comfort, resilience over excuses, and action over hesitation. This mindset isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming someone who refuses to quit, someone who leads with strength and inspires others to rise alongside them. The warrior mindset is a way of life, a relentless pursuit of excellence, and a commitment to growth no matter the cost. So rise up, embrace the grind. Let your scars remind you of your strength, your failures fuel your fire, and your actions speak louder than words. The path is yours to walk, and the transformation is yours to claim. No one can do it for you, but no one can take it away from you either. From rock bottom to the warrior within, you were made for this. Keep fighting, keep pushing, and never stop becoming the best version of yourself.